give you some ideas for homework number 3. So you might have heard when you're working with your horse and doing the turns of a pivot foot. And you might think about that's the foot that does the least amount of travel. So for this homework exercise, I'd like you to think about dividing the horse up into 3 equal parts. And those are going to be the pivot parts of the horse. So for example, there's one pivot part here. That would be over the shoulder. And so if you did a hind quarter yield, this is the pivot point that would do the least amount of travel. Now, if we had the pivot point over the hindquarters here, then we would be doing a 4-quarter yield, where the hindquarters would be the least amount of travel. Now, for this homework assignment, the goal could be that the pivot point is in the center of your horse. So it would be more like when you took a bottle and you were to spin it, like if you ever played spin the bottle. Now, oftentimes, you might find that this is what your horse wants to do naturally when you try to move the front end or the hind end independently. What I'd like you to try for this exercise is just find out what your horse does naturally, and then see if you can influence your horse to do something different. There's no right or wrong, but in every situation, there's something that just might be a little bit more handy if you could get your horse to do that kind of maneuver. So, those are the 3 different pivot spots on your horse, and you can go play with that and see how your horse feels about pivoting those 3 different ways. All right, so I want to show you guys those pivots to the best that I can. We'll see what happens here. So, the pivot point is here. I need the, not that. I need the hindquarters to yield. Pretty good. Can you see the front end is doing the least amount of travel? Okay? All right, now we're going to do the hindquarters. So, this is the pivot point. Good job. Very good. Very good. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of him. This is just kind of see what happens type of thing. That was very good. Yeah. All right. Now, to have the pivot point in the center, which is going to be harder. It's going to be harder at a standstill, but it's easier in motion. Let's see. All right. So, the 4-quarters steps out, and the hindquarters steps over. Hindquarter there. 4-quarter, hindquarter. 4-quarter, hindquarter. I'm going to quit there because that's a real tough one, especially holding the stick. But I want to show you that in motion. Alright. I'll just go down this I'll have him back up towards you. Alright, so this was that exercise. You're just going to kind of pretend there's a cone there. I'll go this way. So you're going to be backing straight, and then tip the 4-quarters. Good. Now we're going straight, tip the 4-quarters. See, this front foot stepping out the same as that hind. Okay? And that's putting the pivot point in the middle. And if you can do it that way, when you have to back the serpentine, it is so smooth that it just looks seamless, and then you'll be getting those plus points if you go to competition. I want to show you another reason why that's important. And I think you'll be able to zoom in over on the box. Another type of time that you might have that balance point in the middle is in some competitions, or maybe you're just in a tight area. Some competitions, you have to ride into a box, a square box. And in order to make a nice turn, the pivot point has to stay in the middle. Otherwise, your horse is going to, either the forequarters will leave the box or the hindquarters will leave the box. So I'm very excited that you guys have been posting videos and kind of playing with this stuff. It's really, really cool. And this has more to do with you guys being more aware of what your horse's feet are doing than anything else. So you can apply this to anything that you do. And it's the same thing under saddle, but sometimes on the ground, it's helpful to actually see the feet and see what does it take for me to influence those feet. All right, thanks for playing along, and I can't wait to see your videos.